Hey, everybody. I want to go over some basic astrology chart analysis practice, and it falls under the title of house rulership. And it's this that a planet must use the topics of the house in which it resides in order to bring about its own significations. In addition, the houses that a planet rules also factor into its full interpretation. Let's take a look at a chart where we look at Mars, which is a malefic, a difficult planet. It happens to be in a difficult house. So that's telling you that difficult planet Mars needs to use the topics of the house to express itself. Let's just see how that actually fleshes out. All right, we're going to take the principles that I just spoke about and we're going to take a look at Mars. Mars is in the 12th house. And in this chart, Mars is the malefic out of sect. And so it's going to be a Mars that gives you most difficult of qualities. What are some of the qualities of Mars? Well, on the good end, it would be someone who's fearless, brave, or will not be subdued. Strong, furious, could also be violence, afraid of no one, wars, fighting, violent murders, verbal abuse, torture, imprisonment, deception. A lot of really difficult topics come under the influence or around the meaning of Mars when you see Mars. So if we follow through with the idea that a planet, Mars, needs to use the topics of the house and where it's located in order to bring about its significations, then we're going to analyze Mars this way. First of all, we're going to know it's the malefic dot of sect, so it's going to give us much more of those difficult words that I just read in regards to Mars. But it needs to use the topics of the 12th house, the tools, the basket of topics that it can, use to express itself are going to be loss, sickness, enemies, and confinement. These are some of the words assigned to the 12th house. So you can see if you take um, these words, let's just take strong, furious, two of the words assigned to Mars. If strong and furious has to use loss, sickness, enemies, or confinement to express itself, it's just going to be pretty negative. That's why a malefic, especially out of sect, in a bad house really is not a good thing when you see it in a chart. Now, the second principle is that in addition to the houses, to the house where Mars is located, you have to look to the houses that the planet rules because that also falls into the interpretation. And in this chart, Mars rules the sixth house, and Mars also rules the ascendant because Mars rules, excuse me, Scorpio and Aries. Well, the sixth house topics are illness, injury, work, and subordinates. And the ascendant is the body, health, and appearance. So Mars, with the basket of tools of loss, sickness, enemies, and confinement, has to provide for the sixth house of illness, injury, work, and subordinates. So you can see this is just a pretty dismal situation. Loss, sickness, enemies, confinement, strong, furious, violence needs to take care of illness, injury, work, and subordinates. So, ugh, yikes. And also the 12th house location of Mars and those topics and tools and the signification of Mars needs to also take care of the ascendant. So the ascendant has those tools. The body, the health, and the appearance has the tools of loss, sickness, enemies, and confinement to use to express itself. And I think in this case, we know that Sigmund Freud, who was a psychologist, really would have used his body, his mind, who he is, to deal with people that suffer from sickness, people that are confined, people that have loss. That's the type of psychologist that he was. So that is a little bit about um, a planet in a house having to use the topics of the house, and that it also has to then share those topics in the zodiac signs that it rules. Now, in Hellenistic astrology, you really would say Oh, Mars in the 12th house, and we're talking about something a little different here. Mars in the 12th house is in the zodiac sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. So we would say Mars is in Venus's domain. We would s say that we would look at it, think of it more that way as opposed to Mars is in Libra. And that's a new thing I just learned from Demetra. I didn't realize that they really focus more on the planets, where they're located and what other planet is ruling them. Uh, you could, you would then, if you wanted to get more detailed, you would further identify the condition of Mars. You would see it, what terms it's in. You would see what triplicity it's under. You would see what zodiac sign it is in. You would see if it has any trines from good planets or squares, etc. That's a little more advanced. But for the most part, you see Mars in the 12th house, especially ruling in the 6th house, more difficult topics. You're going to have uh, issues that are wrapped around this person's life that are difficult. And this dude definitely dealt with difficult topics. Okay, bye.